So now what is an overview of this course? So in order to know what exactly we will go through in this course, first of all, we aim to explore the database system. In order to explore the database system, we have to know about how these file-based system or file data processing system evolved from computerized based system. Then we will look at certain data models. We will also study some key terms which we use in databases or database management systems. We'll also look at relation models, different phases of design of databases such as conceptual, logical, and physical levels, normalizations, and we also look or touch advanced SQL and embedded SQL as well. You do not worry about right now about these topics as we will go through this course. We will go through each of the topics more in detail. So you will understand each of the terminologies much better. There is no prerequisites of this course, which means that you do not have to have any knowledge or take any courses before coming to this lecture. So there are 12 topics which will be involved. So I have shown you the schedule before, which consists of 12 topics, and each week we will be covering some of them. And you can find all the material online on Learning Hub. Also, there will be practical and problem solving exercises as well, and some of the readings also, so which you can find easily on the Learning Hub. So course schedule, which already have discussed with you. The learning outcomes are something which we are designed by the institute in order to know what are the outcomes you will have after you take these courses. So this is standardized, no changes can be made to it. You are welcome to give a feedback. We can only make changes to the content or give you more exercises, but we cannot make changes to these learning outcomes because this is a main or core of the course itself. So resources, you have one essential textbook. Extra resources are also provided in case if you want to read further about it. As I mentioned earlier, all learning material will be there in Learning Hub, but we do have one textbook which you have to read some chapters or number of pages from them every week. You can find this textbook from the bookstore. There are computing resources. There are four of them we will be using. So initially we'll be working on MySQL Workbench in week one. So you have to make sure that you install MySQL Workbench before coming to the lecture. In case you haven't or you're struggling with it, you have to contact me through email or send me a message on Discord. Okay, you can find the guide on Learning Hub. So if you go back to the Learning Hub, you will find here the content. There is something called as a lab setup. In lab setup, um, you'll find MySQL. There are two files. So the lab setup guide one is the one which I have created for you for Windows and Mac users as well. You can find all the instructions here. Make sure that you also answer a discussion question given here because I will be discussing that during the lecture. Okay, so there are two discussion questions are given here. I have uploaded one more file which is for installation for the Mac. I do have installation guide here, but this one are extra information for you in case if you are still struggling to install MySQL 8 on your computers. You have to make sure your MySQL is the latest version. There are a number of versions available. You have to make sure it is the latest version. So how you will be assessed? The number of assessments are here. This is total of 100. So first thing we have here, every week you have labs and exercises, which is 20%. So whatever exercises you are completing during the class or the labs, you have to upload on Learning Hub. So if you go back here, you can find, for example, in week one, you will find here the exercises, lab submission, and the review questions. The review questions are self-assessed, but I will encourage you to complete that because I might give you some questions from review questions in your exams. So make sure that you complete them because it is also part of your class participation. Week one, so it will be available on 7th. I have opened it 30 minutes before for all of the lectures. So you can read them in case if you want to before coming to the class. And you have to submit by next week. So every time, if you have class on Thursday, you have to submit by next week on Wednesday, 6 p.m. So it will be standard for all week. Now, two-phase project. Two-phase project, instead of giving you one entire project, I had divided into two projects, phase one and phase two. So phase one will be on 7th week and the phase two will be on 11th week. What are the due dates? You can find on on schedule, course schedule, and also I will upload on Learning Hub as well. I haven't uploaded the two-phase project yet for you. I will open it for next week. So the first phase you will have, I will give you certain feedback. So both of them are continuation of each of them. So if in case if you haven't done well in phase one, you will still have chance to do in phase two. So whatever feedback you receive in phase one should be implemented into a phase two. Now the quizzes. You have five quizzes, and each quizzes are like each quizzes. All the quizzes will be 10%. So which means it will be 2% each of them. You have to make sure you attend all of them. There is no excuses will be accepted in case if you have missed it. Except if that is a mitigating circumstances, you have to provide with the evidences. For example, if you are sick, you have to provide with a doctor's certification. Then midterm and final exam, 20% and 20%. Week 8 will be midterm, final exam will be week 15, and overall it's 100%. There are certain, you have to make sure in case if you have submitted your assignment or lab one day late, I will deduct your 5 mark for each day late. So you have to make sure that you do not submit late. And after 3 days, I will not accept your submission. So if you're 3 days late, I will not accept you any submission, I will give you zero. So you have to make sure that you have aggregate score of combined assessment of 50 and you submit all the quizzes, project, exercises, and you have 50% overall in midterm and final exam. Which means, so you can see it is 100 percentage. So you need to have overall 50%. This is one check mark. Second is that you need to have 50% overall in midterm and final exam. Okay. So in order to pass this course. And obviously, you have to submit all these labs and phases and the quizzes. Attendance policies, you need to have a regular attendance. In case if you're not able to attend any classes, you have to inform me. You can send me email. I would prefer to have it as an email or send me a message. But the excuses should be genuine. You cannot tell me that you are not able to come because you don't want to come to the lecture or the lab. Then it's not a genuine excuse. Okay, but it's not acceptable. I have to check because as per the policies you are not required to have two or more classes. You cannot you cannot be from absent from two or more classes. Okay, in case if it should happen, you have to withdraw from the course. So now why this course is important. So why it is important? Because first of all, we are saying that we will be studying about the database system. So what exactly a database is? So if we separate a data and base, it will give you an idea of what exactly it is. When we say the base means a foundation or a pillar or starting point for something. So which means it is a point or starting point for our database to or it is a starting point for our databases or data itself. What are the data as which are mainly of facts. Okay, so which means we are discussing in this course about what are the foundations of these facts would be and why it is important. As you all know that we as a new generation, we all use number of devices, and these devices are connected to an internet or using certain type of IoT. So from smartphones to IoT, we generate number of data on regular basis. Okay, which means we store and we retrieve the information using these devices, and these devices itself also generate certain data. So these data, how we can store, how we can retrieve, how we can manipulate, and how we can visualize this database to make certain decisions as well. Because when we generate these data sets, we have to also think about how we can make use of this database. That's why AI and machine learning come into play, where we use these databases and manipulate with them or visualize them, which help organizations to make certain decisions. Okay, so let's think about examples. Let's look at the first one. So let's say every day in our life we buy certain things from the supermarkets. So we go to the supermarket and then we purchase one thing, we go to the counter, he or she scan, the cashier will scan your product, and that product will be listed into their system. So later on, when you will go to that place, they will know what type of information or what type of order or product you have bought. So for each customer, they will know, for example, if a person have bought a milk on regular basis or not. How many people have bought a milk on Monday, or let's say on weekend, because majority of us shop on weekend, right? So maybe based on this information, they are storing inside certain databases. These databases are used to identify how much product they need to have in their store in order to be purchased by their customers. So if they are buying 10 per day, let's say on weekdays, they should buy 20 products, because the increase of the sale on weekend is more as compared to our weekdays. So these are some of the ways we can retrieve the information and we can manipulate them or visualize them. So these are certain decision can be made. So the second example, the library. So if we have a library, an online system for the library management system we store also information there. So instead of roaming around in an entire library to look for the book, you will know where exactly it is located, because libraries consist of number of sections. We just write the title, author name, or sometimes the year as well. So based on that, you will just navigate to that specific section and you will locate the book. Then we have something when we book a vacation. We go to travel management systems and online ticket booking systems which are available online. So what do? You enter your when exactly you want to departure or arrive, and you also have to mention about your from and to as well, from where exactly you are traveling from and where you are traveling to. So these are some of the information you add or in order to filter the information. So for example, so if you have, let's say the WestJet is one of the airline. So if you go there and you want to book a ticket, let's say you want to book a ticket from Toronto, from Vancouver to Toronto, and departure date or return date. So you can see here, based on this information, it will retrieve the information related to the cost related to it. For example, if you click on the first one and mention about your return date, how many guests you are, you will be able to retrieve the information related to the flights from Vancouver to Toronto on that specific dates. So this is what? This is one of the information. So you can see here they found a 16 flight found. So we have retrieved an information from the database which stored all the list of the flights which are available based on their date, time, and price, and so on. Okay. So this is also one type of database.